slight second, we are going into Battlefield of Eternity, game number 2. Map chosen by Black, of course, with the win of game number 1. Miracle will again pick first ban. Should they go for Genji again and leave Rich's Marthail open?
Considering the battleground, it makes you think about that twice, doesn't it? And I believe that MVP Miracle is coming into the drafts today with the single-minded intent of just always first banning Rich's Illidan out. So I believe they will continue to do that. Of course, I may be proven wrong in the next few seconds, but Battlefield of Eternity, one of pretty much the map that defines MVP Black's dominance when they were at their peak, and MVP Miracle were never too great on this map, so they can't be feeling too confident right now.
Yep. That's right, as we are waiting for the players to come in.
And as we said, definitely MVP Miracle's idea to approach this draft today seems to center all around that first ban Illidan and MVP Black. Interesting change-up. They decide to ban the Genji instead of the Ariel. So will MVP Miracle take the bait? Will they take the Ariel first pick?
And leave Marthail and the rest of the heroes open. If Miracle wants to put much more strength into Dami, if he's willing to, if he has the confidence, then they should be asking, and if he says yes, just pick it right now. But Ariel and Uther, there are lots of options open for support, so I would actually rather see this Marthail first pick. But we saw Black just macroing against it with all the CCs available, taking Marthail out with the CCs. We saw a good counter team coming out from Black already, so that's what Miracle. I think that's what's making them take so much time, and they decide with Ariel at the end.
Okay, so they take the bait. Well, not necessarily a bait, but one of the two things they could have gone for, and in response, MVP Black lock in right away the Tassadar Vala. Pretty decent takeaways, if you ask me, because of course they could have gone for the Malthael, as you said, but then if they had not taken either one of these heroes, then MVP Miracle would have responded with this Trinity right away. So MVP Black continuously staying one step ahead, knowing what MVP Miracle wants to play, and MVP Miracle, I think they should have been expecting this. So the question is then, will they be willing to play the Malthael?
They took away Vala Tassadar, and they did this before also, and make the opponent think that it's a Vala DPS, but actually they brought in Tracer or some other picks later on, and they brought in the real DPS and faked that Vala is their DPS. Vala just went for the Q build and raced for the Immortal. Of course did some damage, but it was more for the mind games in the drafting. Let's see how Miracle responds, because they should be the one knowing this team the most. They bring in both DPS right before the ban phase, Cassia and Marthail together.
Okay, so they took the second bait, they took the Malthael as well, so they are not phased by what MVP Black is deliberately opening up to them, so that's pretty good. Cassia also appears a very good battery in general for Ariel and a decent answer against Vala, so far so good for MVP Miracle as well. But as you mentioned, MVP Black, one of the favorite compositions that they loved to run on this map was the Tassadar Vala into Rich's Tracer. And MVP Miracle, do they want to address that with a ban, a second ban, or do they think the Cassia will be enough? Personally, I would like to see them address it with a second ban Tracer, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think they are considering about Tracer, or even Greymane coming in from Sake has been pretty effective.
Yes,
there's the Tracer ban.
Take out the Bracer. Very good response so far from MVP Miracle to all of what MVP Black is doing here.
It's perfect. It was a targeted ban, and bringing Cassia just for the safety, because Vala and Greymane could also come in as a dive. Now Rich has to pick up something else. Maybe he has something else in his hands.
I believe as one of the players that Rich will know exactly which heroes can beat Malthael, or at least out-pressure Malthael in the solo lane, but we won't get to see that until the last rotation. Banning out Uther leaves Malfurion as the next go-to support, and Kyocha, as we have always mentioned, Malfurion is a favorite support right now, and Muradin is the slightly more unexpected one, right?
Even when Rehgar is available for for him to take it. Seems like they don't want to go in dive as basically Illidan and Genji is already banned and Marthiel taken from the other side. So they want to go with the balanced one and try to have a longer team fight with the sustain. And Rich with the last pick, the solo lane can be the counter of after watching all the draft finish from Miracle's side.
What do you think is the true justification behind this Muradin pick? I'm not saying it's a bad pick in any means, but a lot of meta warriors were available, if you remember. Anubarak, Stitches, Tyrael. So why Muradin? Is it a TTSC comfort pick because he looked a bit uncomfortable on Anubarak in the last game, or does it have more implications beyond that?
It can actually be Haymaker, which was actually used to when Marthiel just pops that Tormented Soul, use the Haymaker to actually isolate him away from your teammates. I've seen that happen in few of the games, not really in competitive though.
And speaking about MVP Miracle's last rotation of picks, Rehgar, nice double support to round out that Cassia. Oftentimes you will want to run a double support with solo range DPS in the way that MVP Miracle has done. And Tyrael, it could have been a very nice solo lane response from MVP Black in response to the Malthael. So it's a takeaway and a good solo warrior in itself as well. And Falstad.
Falstad, then who's...
Super
I thought Sake would be on the Tastar, so there is some shakeup in this fan phase after so many of Rich's heroes are banned out. So we'll see some difference in the role swaps here.
I'm expecting Rich to play the Tassadar in this case, but we will have to see. Sake's Falstad is not something that we want to miss out on.
Yeah, of course, and seems like Miracle got what they wanted after this fan phase. Let's see. Let's go into Battlefield of Eternity and find out if Miracle can bounce back after a 0-1 right now. In blue, MVP Black, Reset on Vala, Sake on Tastar, Kyocha on Malfurion, and Rich on Falstad, Tista on Muradin.
And in the red, we see MVP Miracle with Judy on Tyrael, Dami on Malthael, Jaehyun and Ariel, Crazy moving on Cassia, and Sniper on Rehgar. So Sniper's Rehgar, something that we are relatively used to seeing. But MVP Miracle, something to remember is that they have often run the Ariel Rehgar, but it was usually Sniper playing the Ariel, right? But his Crystal Aegis, we have criticized him in multiple games for his lackluster use of that heroic.
That's right.
So this time I believe they decided to change it around, and hopefully Sniper will be a better Rehgar than he was in Ariel.
Sniper is a real flex into the team today, bringing Tyrael and Rehgar in game number 2. Let's see if it's a better change into the team.
And interesting to see Rich go with the Falstad instead.
Yeah, that's right. I was... Well, of course, Reset was the one and has been the one on the Vala and, of course, Tastar, Sake. But Sake also played a great Falstad every single time. So it was a very hard problem to actually solve. But it seems like Rich is on Falstad for now. Let's see his... And actually... a Q build coming out.
Interesting.
Haven't seen that in a while.
We haven't seen that in months.
Both Qs, Vala Q and Falstad Q.
Also should be mentioned that Tassadar went for the Psionic Storm build, which seems to be catching on in popularity recently. Lockdown always goes for that, but I think it's the first time we saw another player go for that, save for Mighty Maggie, which he took yesterday.
Let's see, the burst damage for the Immortal will be there. The pokes will be there. It seems like they want to fight away from the zone. And Muradin will be just for there to harass. I think that's the idea. The reason why they brought in Muradin instead of all the other tanks available.
Definitely a reason why they could have taken that. And small tussle going around. MVP Miracle's Immortal. Not too much will happen at this moment in time, however.
Tastar actually goes up top, actually tries to wave clear instead. Marthael is doing the damage. It started.
Pretty massive. It's dropping down quickly.
But Dami has to go back up, and Silken EXP does not want to miss any. And meanwhile, Reset is here doing the Q. Going into Immortal, and does a lot more damage, and Falstad can also do tons of damage with the burst.
So far the race is going in the favor of MVP Black, and MVP Miracle are also down in experience, so not the best situation to be in. And to deny MVP Miracle from catching up in the race, MVP Black deciding to rotate 3 members into the top lane, even taking down the entire outer wall and almost the well.
This is also using the positioning of Immortal because it's on top and forces Marthiel actually away from it and pushing the fort. Made Dami go in for the defense instead. So now they're fully committing in. About health, about 1,000 lead for Black for now.
Yeah,
now this is a lot better positioning for MVP Miracle.
And as you said, MVP Black with the decision to use Muradin as a slight deterrent, slowing down the race for MVP Miracle, and it works.
Still 1,000, that was about as close. But first Immortal will go to MVP Black, and actually against the lane, Marthiel is in because they have been pushing the top, and this bottom one is still very healthy.
Overall, it seems like MVP Black's greater amount of experience and know-how on this map is showing. Very good decisions coming out from the more experienced team throughout.
And Kevin Strike talent at 4.
More and more Arios have been going for the talent, I feel. I've asked Hyde about this, and he says that he thinks it's perfectly fine to pick it even in competitive play as long as you can land a few.
As long as if you can land a lot,
yeah,
which is hard.
Let's see if Jaehyun is capable of landing those.
And also, extra healing from Rehgar. Maybe it seemed like it was needed because the sustain on the other side could be very effective too. So the healing, the support war in this game will be real. The damage will be the burst.
It's really interesting to see Rich
the Stoneboard. Judy actually goes a little bit further to go aggressive, but has the Aldrin's away.
And Sake really abusing the quick wave clear on the hero he has. He always has been staying a step ahead, multiple steps ahead in fact, in these rotations. And he almost spent half of the time in the game around the bottom lane, it feels. That's how much he is shoving in the lane against Malthiel.
And they've started their macro fight because they have a little bit better wave clear. They're really pressuring that hard against Marthiel especially. And Muradin, look at his positioning. This is the combo they have been doing so many times, the triple gank all the time. So knowing that Marthiel is staying in the safe position and Muradin deciding to come down? Actually, no, not in time.
So as you said, even though Sake and not Rich is the solo laner in this particular game, MVP Black's overall strategy in the macro game stays consistent. They always want to be the one to gank first in the solo lane. But this time they're outnumbered.
Yeah, this time Tusk does not actually takes Pierce at 7 and double stun comes in and saves himself there. A sniper can escape from this. Not enough damage coming out.
Notable to mention that he took Pierce way before that series of events happened, so pretty interesting talent decision, but definitely one that can be justified.
Of course, if you go for the Q stacks, it helps a little bit more. And there's a positioning change, and Black going in aggressive with the Q. Reset seems to be
having a good time.
Yeah, he wants to do more damage onto Judy and force them back as much as possible right now.
It really is a joy whenever Reset or SCSC plays Valla. The aggression that comes out of those two players are on an entirely different level from the rest. And top fort goes down for MVP Black.
And that will be the one. They come for the harass, and Hokyocha seems to be the focus. Is a little bit off, and Rich makes his escape out of there. The big blinds come in along with the stun.
The piercing hammer getting a lot of value over and over. But the Immortal falls down. Level 10 almost reached for MVP Black. everything going in their favor right now.
And that's the thing, even
Haymaker.
Haymaker. Oh, this is what we saw, and Jaehyun will get caught off. Okay, now we really see Haymaker in use, and he will be doing that after 10 when he dives in to get those marks onto his teammates. He will just push him away, just knocking him off the fight, just like that.
Will we see the MVP Black Classic here? Will they take the core with this Immortal?
They will push it to the max, that's for sure.
MVP Miracle have to be extra careful here. Worth mentioning that Tassadar took the Archon, so they don't really need to watch out for the force walls, so but still very dangerous.
Yes, they have the Archon and the Gust for the disengage, so I think taking a Haymaker is an okay choice here, but let's have a look. Still a long way to go for Miracle to actually hit that 10. If they can get this keep in 8 minutes, it seems like they are going in here. There's a flash, there's a Gust for the engage. Great cleanse though coming in. Twilight Dream is real. There's the first kill, second kill onto Cassia. They are going for the core. They're not stopping here.
Fantastic sequence of heroics. The Gust into the Twilight Dream, into the Strafes. Everything worked perfectly for MVP Black in that fight.
Can they do it though?
Immortal's
because he's very low. Gets healed. He's dead. And Miracle hits 10. Only 3 angels are remaining. Can they do it? 8%, 4%. That's more than enough damage. That's going to be game. Less than 9-minute game.
MVP Classic. MVP Black's classic strategy on Battlefield of Eternity strikes again. How many times have we seen this, G-Cliff? I reckon it's above 20. Like, that's how easily they know how to finish out games on Battlefield of Eternity in this exact fashion.
That was like if they had those Sylvanas in their team. The old Sylvanas pick. When they had Sylvanas with the first and second Immortal, they went for the core. And this seemed like they actually had Sylvanas on their team and just made the push all the way into the core. And if you have that much of a level lead, they will punish you. And Rich on Falstad seems okay for now.
Yeah, Rich did a pretty decent job on the Falstad, never really got caught out. Very good Gust at the end of the game as well, so he definitely does his job. Saki also handled the solo lane like a boss, staying ahead, 5 steps ahead of Dami every single time there needed to make a rotation. And it's really impressive how MVP Black seems to be able to do the exact same thing on Battlefield of Eternity, but on a different cast of heroes every game. Sometimes they do it with the Sylvanas, sometimes they do it with the Sergeant Hammer, sometimes they do it with the Saman Syndragos on Arthas, and this time they did it with Tassadar and Falstad, so ingenious, really.
Overall, their teamwork and their understanding of this battleground was insane by macro-wise, but with the pressure, they will bring number 1 and 2 for themselves. It is 2-0 right now, but before game number 3, we'll take a short break. Guys, see you in 5 minutes.